Hello, I'm Kathy Chester, and this is Move It or Lose It, a podcast about all things that move the mind, body, spirit, and soul. Well, hello, welcome to another edition to Move It or Lose It. Today, my guest is Adam Powell, another fellow MSer who is a complete badass, as you will learn to love and appreciate how hard he has worked to gain independence through so much adversity with his MS. So with no further ado, I now welcome Adam Powell to Move It or Lose It podcast. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you for having me on. I'm honored to be on here.
Thank you. I'm honored to have you. Every time I see you on anything, you're doing something insane in the gym, and I'm jealous. So I feel like I need to join you.
Dude, come on out. Have at it.
I'm ready. So let's talk about a little bit about you, Adam. Tell us, our listeners, a little bit about before diagnosis and after diagnosis.
Okay, before diagnosis, well, I got diagnosed in June of 2019. So before that, like summer of 2018, and before that, I was perfectly normal. I was a workaholic. I was working for UPS, working 12 hours a day.
Okay.
You know, I played a bunch of sports. I partied. I went to concerts. Like I was just your typical, mid-30s guy. I just whatever I wanted. Nothing ever stopped me. I never got sick. I was always just healthy as all hell, and I just kept going, never stopped anything. And then MS hit, and it changed everything.
It does. So before you were diagnosed, was there any indication, like when you were doing sports and stuff, that something just wasn't right?
It didn't take long. I remember the first thing I can track it back to was like October of 2018. I was down in Columbus working, and we were working like 16-hour days, split shifts here and there. My feet were just killing me. They felt like they were swelling out of my boots, and I just wrote it off. I'm just like, I got new boots. I've been working a ton, and that's it. And then December came around, and I was an on-road supervisor at UPS. So Christmas time at UPS.
Gotta be nuts.
We were out in the cold for 12, 14 hours a day. And I remember at that time, like, man, my legs just feel numb and cold. And I'm like, yeah, of course they are, because I'm outside all day long.
Right.
Those were like the only indications of anything.
Wow.
And then they thought I had a hernia, but it wasn't a hernia. And then that led me to go to therapy because I have lower back damage just from physical labor my whole life. So they think nerve. So I was going through therapy for that, and it was helping out the groin pain and the back pain. I was complaining to my therapist, like, why are my legs like feel weird? Like, why is my balance off? I don't know what's happening here. And then that's what got me on the neurology track.
So did your therapist at the time, did they send you, did she or he think something's not quite right?
She thought something was wrong because she didn't think it was a pinched nerve anymore. And she said, go back to my primary. So I went back to my primary, and he says, well, we're in neurology route. So that was probably March. And then I was diagnosed by June. Okay.
June of 2019, correct? Yep. Okay. So now we're at June 2019, and you get the diagnosis this was from a neurologist that you have now, or the first neurologist you saw?
No, this was my first neurologist that was not an MS specialist. And I do not recommend to anybody at all. So
Adam, I love and appreciate that, because I think we have so many of our MSers, and I know now more than ever, doing the podcast and training and teaching with the program, so many of our MSers are not going to a neurologist or a doctor that specializes in multiple sclerosis. And as you and I both know, that's really scary, because in your work, you've got a doctor who knows a little bit, even a neurologist. He knows a little bit about, or some of them a lot of it, about several different things. So if their primary thing isn't multiple sclerosis, then you're dealing with you're dealing with a neurologist that isn't going to be up on the latest studies, on the latest of anything, because he's dealing with everything else with the mind and the brain and spinal injuries and things like that. So I know for me, you and I had a similar experience. I did not care for the first neurologist. He did a little bit of everything. And I was like, nope, I need to have a neurologist that understands what I have, because I don't understand it. So I need somebody who understands it. So then forward after that, you decided this isn't going to be the doctor for me.
Right. I actually decided that right away, early on. As soon as I got put in the place I was at, I was like, all right, I'm going to look into this. I wanted to go to either U of M or Owasso Memorial Health. Dr. Rainey up there. I've heard great things about him, and then I heard great things about U of M.
Yeah.
So I was trying to get into both of them, and I just happened to get into U of M first. And found a doctor that I love, Dr. Romeo, and it's been great. Ever since I've got him, I have my whole healthcare team as U of M now. All my therapists, neurologists, physiatrists, pelvic floor therapists, everything I do is right there.
And that's so important, Adam, as well, because just even for myself, I've battled multiple sclerosis and rheumatoid for now over 20 years. And it has never, ever by my neurologist been brought to my attention that I even needed cognitive testing. I never even heard about it until 2020. And then my husband and I were going to the Cleveland Clinic and things like that, going to some other areas just to kind of find out, like, where am I at? My body's done some changing. I was on medication Tysabri, which is a once a month infusion. I did phenomenal on it. I was on it for years, did great, felt great. Then I became JC positive. It had to be taken off and went with a complete jerk doctor. And I am not one to get easily wooed by anyone. And this guy really knew what to say. And didn't follow through at all. So unfortunately, I was put on Ocrevus, and I'm not doing so great on Ocrevus. So you moved over to Michigan. So now I'm going to Michigan to get a lot of tests. So a lot of my cognitive tests and things like that I'm doing through Michigan.
Okay.
So you've got, and I love that, because the important part of that is that so many of our newly diagnosed don't have a clue that you need a neurotherapist, a neurologist, a neurourologist, all of those things. And for so many of them, we don't even know that exists.
Yeah. One of the best doctors, I just saw him a couple of weeks ago. I've heard rave reviews from people in my support groups, is a physiatrist. I never even knew what a physiatrist was, but I went to him, and from what it sounds like to me, he's kind of like the gatekeeper. He's the guy you talk to, tell you everything that's going on, and then he points you in the right direction. You go to the urologist, cognitive testing, this, that. And it was, man, if I'd have known that 2.5 years ago, that'd have been amazing.
It's really neat because, Adam, I'm working with a lot of patients, and we're working on feet right now, because we don't take care of them. So I will start like kind of massaging from the toes and then going down, and then really helping them understand that our feet sometimes are so sore because of what we do, and we need to really work on our feet and take care of them. And unfortunately, a lot of times we don't take care of our feet. I mean, women, we get pedicures, but that's about it. We don't take care of anything. So I would say for sure that I'm putting my do not disturb on so we don't get bothered. So I would say, I love that. I love that they sent you to the podiatrist, so that he was at Michigan as well.
Oh, no, not podiatrist.
Oh,
physiatrist.
I thought you said a podiatrist. I was like, really? That's interesting.
But they are great too. But no, physiatrist.
Okay.
It was just the gatekeeper. And
that makes more sense.
It's not just, not just your MS symptoms or not just the brain stuff. It's just, hey, this is what's going on. Go see this doctor, go to the urologist, go to the pelvic floor therapist, go to therapy, go to cognitive testing. So that was, man, I would have loved to know that 2.5 years ago.
Yes, for sure. So then, I mean, I would say that is my biggest goal when I'm doing podcasting or I'm working with the clients, is to really, our newly diagnosed, the fact that you knew that you were able to get into Michigan is so powerful and so good to talk about, because it gives our other MSers hope and understand what to look for. That the first doctor is probably not going to be your doctor that you meet. And it's okay. I always kind of think of it as speed dating. And
Yeah.
if you don't like it, you're out. If this one doesn't work, out.
A lot of people don't like realize that or think you can do that. It's like, if you don't like your doctor, fire him.
Exactly.
Get somebody else, get a second opinion. It's your life. You're in control of it.
For sure. And I would say, I'm sure you agree, since we both had wonderful neurologists before, if they are a jerk to you, or they get an attitude when you have a question, or if you're bringing something to their attention, then that's a big red flag. If you're not like connecting, like you've talked about your new neurologist, now you connect really well. And if you're not connecting with that neurologist, that's a red flag. Get out. So I would say, I love that you did that. So let's talk about what we see on Instagram and the back, Unstoppable, Adam Powell, all this stuff to get a hold of you. Love that. So talk to me about the beast I see in the gym. Tell me how that even started.
It started after COVID stopped, because like I said, I started going to therapy in January of 2020, and then COVID hit and just wrecked everything, and it stopped cold dead. I was at home for 4 months, couldn't drive, couldn't walk. That was a tough place.
Yeah.
But once things started opening up again, I kind of went through the whole process of, I'm not going to be this guy. Like, I'm not going to be a guy in a wheelchair. I'm not going to stumble around everywhere. Like, I'm going to fight and I'm going to get out of this. Right. So I started therapy in July, and, with Jess and the therapist, she got me to learn how to walk again. Like, I started from nothing. I was on a walker. I had 2 ACL braces on. I had 2 AFOs on. I looked like a little old man from like the Family Guy cartoon. Right. Like how I walked.
Right.
And it just wasn't good enough for me. And she got me off of it. We started shedding the braces, and she got me on walking sticks, got rid of every brace. And now I just use walking sticks, and
that's awesome.
I try to carry.
So like the truck poles?
Yeah, just trekking poles. Yep.
I like those.
Poles. Got them on Amazon. They were like $20. It was the greatest.
That's awesome.
But yeah, she just taught me how to, find these new neural pathways and get the connection to my legs again, which is still not really there, but I'm finding ways around it.
Absolutely.
And yoga was a big factor in it too. Yoga Moves MS.
Yoga Moves, and I've interviewed I've interviewed Mindy Eisenberg before, and she is definitely one of my favorites, and somebody that, like I told you before the interview, that back in the day when I was diagnosed, she was the only person talking about movement, and it was very exciting. And now yoga wasn't my thing. Right. I tend to do like what you do. I like to be in the gym. I like to lift. I like that stuff. So, but yoga is so complementary to what we do. And it's so good for our bodies to have that. I will do like a slow flow, something like that, that really just helps my body just kind of stretch more and things like that.
Yeah. I know my therapist is the one that like gave me the Yoga Moves flyer when I was there. And I just kind of took it home. I didn't do anything with it for like a month or two, because I'm like, yoga, like this is dumb. Like I can barely walk, why am I doing yoga? But I picked it up and I got it, and it was great. I mean, I was struggling at therapy because I was still learning how to walk. Like I would have to get wheeled out of there every time because I was just so dead tired.
Right.
But doing the yoga in the chair, the adaptive yoga, it really got me to move. The midsection, all that. I have that MS hug all the time.
You do? Okay.
All the time. So like my midsection is always tight. So just twisting and all that. I mean, I just remember early on, I was so weak that it hurt to sit up straight without like a backrest. Like I could barely sit up straight without like teetering back and forth.
Yeah.
And yoga really helped that.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's one thing that it definitely helps.
Yeah.
I love that you did that. So you started with that. And then from there, where'd you go from there?
From there, I just kept going to therapy, doing yoga. I was in such bad shape. Like I could do, like Thursday, I could do therapy. And then Saturday, I could do yoga. Like I always had to have a day in between. I tried not to, and that backfired on me. And I wrecked myself for like 3 weeks.
Okay.
So you know how you learn to
Yeah.
push the lines. I learned not to do
Yeah.
that. But I still try to get on yoga as much as I can, but I just went down the therapy route, and 2 times a week for, almost a whole year. And
Mhm.
then in July of last year, my therapist was like, you know what, you don't need me anymore. And I like was weeping at her feet. Like, yes, I do. Like I need
Right.
you so bad. And I was like, well, what happens if, like, what if I need something new? Like, how am I going to know how to do it? And she's, treated me like I was a 7-year-old, which is what I needed at that time. She's like, you'll
Right.
be okay. Like, you know how to do it. You were an athlete. You were always active. You used to go to the gym all the time. You can do it. And if you need to come back later, come back later. And I was like, all right, good. So that next day, I went to the gym, Anytime Fitness in Fenton, and got a membership right then. Well, reactivated my membership.
Uh-huh.
It was been on hold for like 4 years at that point.
Right.
So I reactivated it, started working out right then. And
Good.
I just started out doing 3 days a week with my legs,
Uh-huh.
just doing everything that, I got taught at therapy.
Right.
After about a month of that, I was like, well, we'll see how it goes. I'll throw in some upper body. So September, I threw in upper body, and then it turned into 6 days a week. So I was doing
Wow.
3 days of legs, 3 days of upper body. And I had to learn how to modify a lot of stuff
Yeah.
because I can't do a lot of stuff standing because I can't stand that much.
Right.
I wanted to work on my core to strengthen that up. So everything I do is based on posture, and I have to do a lot of stuff sitting and machines. So it's not like it was when I was healthy and just running
Right.
around the gym doing whatever I want.
Right.
But I learned
Right.
how to do it. I got myself a nice little set routine, and I just kept moving forward. So September to March, I went 6 days a week for 6 months
Wow.
nonstop. And I completely transformed my body, which wasn't what I was trying to do, but it was just a side effect.
Yeah.
I had zero muscle. I lost all of my muscle. I'm like 180 right now. When I got diagnosed, I was 240.
Really?
And I was a big guy. Like I had
Wow.
a little bit of extra weight, in the midsection, but not
Yeah.
much. I was just
Right.
a
Right.
big, strong guy.
Right.
And I lost all of it, all my muscle.
Wow. I think it's I deal with the most with the men that I train, that right in itself is losing the muscle and looking back to their former selves where they could do so much, where they were athletes and where they were either soccer players or hockey players, football players.
Yeah.
And now they're like, this is it. Like I just stretched with you and I'm exhausted. And I'm like, we're just moving forward. This
Yep.
is the beginning of moving forward of the rest of your life. We're not going to look back anymore to what we could do, because that gets us in that negative
It does.
spin and that black area, that black hole that puts us in, we're just in that dark space,
Yep.
which, as you know, is not good for MS.
I catch myself there sometimes at the gym when I'm like watching other people do stuff.
Yes.
And then I make myself snap out of it. And, I'm just like, that's not the guy I am anymore. And what I think a year and a half ago, I couldn't walk.
Exactly.
So here I am, and I'm just going to keep going now. So
do you ever video yourself at all? Like what you're doing?
I have not, no.
Because I would encourage what I do a lot with my clients, and it's not a ploy because I am going to train you at some point. So I do a lot of where I'll snap some videos of them, because, when they're starting to feel like we all do, like it's not working. I'm never going to make it. I'm never going to accomplish what I used to be able to. I want them to see what they are doing. So I'll video them doing something that I can tell they're doing so much better. And then I'll send it to them and they'll be like, oh, wow, I'm like, see, you're doing so much better. So if we don't focus on what used to be as much, and we can just keep focused on what we're going to do. And like with that positive attitude, where has it gotten you now? I mean, what can you do now?
I can do pretty much anything now.
You're
that's
walking?
how I feel. I'm walking. The latest video I put on Instagram was the battle ropes.
Yeah, I saw that.
My therapist kind of showed me the time before, and I was like, God, these are terrible. Like, I don't know these. So the next day I went to the gym and I was like, I'm just going to try these. And it just happened to be, it was really cool because I was back there doing it. And the girl that works at the gym, I know her, I talk to her all the time. she heard like the flapping,
Uh-huh.
and she was like, who is doing this? Because she knows that I've never done that before.
Right.
So she like looked on the cameras and saw that I was doing it. And she's the one that actually like
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
videoed that part and sent it to me and was like, I caught you doing this. And I was like, dude, that's so cool.
That's really neat. That's
Yeah.
really awesome.
So
I
doing
do that
stuff
with the
like that.
clients, but they're seated. So when I
Right.
saw you standing, I was like, good for you. Good,
Yep.
good, good. So it's but it's a great cardio one
Oh,
for,
yeah.
for my seated clients that can do, because the thing is that a lot of times we just focus on strength.
Right.
And I'm like, but we've got to have some cardio in too. So even if you're seated, there's a lot of cardio we can do. So it's just really, learning about that and learning that there's new ways
Mhm.
to work out, different than, we talked about this before, like, being diagnosed so early. All I knew in my brain is that sitting down on my rear end and what they told me to do, resting, made no sense.
Nope.
And I couldn't do it. And I think the best advice I got was actually an older woman and gentleman were next to each other. And they had said to me, if we could do it again, we would have never stopped moving, because stopping moving is what has us in these chairs.
Yep.
And I was like, big eyeballs. And I'm like, all ears. And that never left me.
Yeah.
So I always remember, even on days, where I can maybe not be able to do a whole entire workout. What is the thing that we say as trainers? The only bad workout is the one you didn't do.
Yep.
So even if it's a small amount you did and it's a lot of stretching, that's a workout, and you moved your body and you got something in. So 6 days in the gym. So that is incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
And also very, very encouraging to our MSers who are still, I still battle a lot with our MSers that really are afraid of exercise.
Right.
Because they've had it. I was diagnosed so young, so it made sense to me. But I think our older patients that are older MSers and tend to be a little bit more fearful.
Yeah.
Because they could look at somebody like you that was in progressive and just say, what's the point? Yeah. Instead of what you did and said, what's the point? My life.
Right.
My life is worth this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep fighting this.
I'm not going to let it get the best of me. Absolutely.
So how would you say, Adam, that MS does not define you? In what ways do you not allow it to define you?
Just, the gym, as simple as that, and walking, and the fact that they, like my original doctors said that I would probably be in a wheelchair within like 6 months.
Don't you love when they say that to you?
And I was,
Yeah.
They were right about that, but they didn't say that I could get out of it.
Right.
And I just go about my life as best I can. I have issues. We all do.
Yeah.
I have my limits. I know them. I know there's something that we don't know about yet, but I went on a solo road trip last year across the country.
You did?
Yeah, just on the whim, because I wanted to. Because
that's so brave.
I wanted to prove that I could do it. And
wow.
That was when I was, before I was working out, I was going to therapy and all that, but I just went. I was gone for a month.
Where'd you go?
I went to 7 different national parks.
Seriously?
The original plan was I went out to Montana to get a tattoo done. Like I got this tattoo worked on here.
Okay.
And then it just kind of went from there. I went to Glacier, and then I went to Yosemite.
Uh-huh. Oh, I want to go there so bad.
Redwoods. And then
Redwoods, you're
Grand
killing
Canyon.
Me. Ah.
And what was the one? There's one in Colorado, Monuments Park.
Yes.
And then Rocky Mountain Park. So I just did the loop. I've never been to
you missed the Smoky Mountains?
Nah, I missed those. And I missed Yellowstone too. I wanted to hit but I kind of went south. Yeah. But it was an incredible trip. And
yeah,
at that point, I had only been driving again for 5 months.
Wow.
I couldn't drive for over a year because my legs, I don't trust my legs.
Right. So right.
I got hand controls finally, and I took my hand control little car out there, and
I love it.
Video game driving through the mountains. It was great.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you weren't afraid at all of direction. So cognitively, I'm going to turn these blinds up a little bit. So I'm going to need sun in my eyeballs. So cognitively, has MS affected you in ways Or for you, has it been more physical?
It's been way more physical, and for me, it's all like chest down. Like my
Right.
upper body, my arms, hands are fine.
Mhm.
Cognitively, I got hit a little bit, but not bad. I lose words all the time. My
Yeah.
short-term memory is terrible. I can't read as much or as well anymore just because of the focus and all that, but that's about it.
So any eye issues or no?
There was a little early on, like my right eye deteriorated a little bit, but
Okay.
not even enough to like change my contact prescription.
Wow. So
So
no, was it optic neuritis at the time or
they
no?
didn't call it, no, they
Okay.
didn't say it was, but there was
Okay.
something, you go through every test there is, and
Right.
there was something there, and I could tell because it was a little like blurry and not focusing, but you just kind of get used to it, and now
Right.
it doesn't bother me.
Yes,
Like I
you
said,
do.
I didn't even have to change my prescription, so
So-
I was happy that I didn't get hit as bad cognitively, and I still had my wits about me, and going on a trip, it was fine. Direction wise, I had it kind of mapped out. I was like, I think I might stop here, but
Right.
as I left my driveway, though, when I left my driveway, I was like, what am I getting myself into? Like the longest I've driven at one point in time since I've had these hand controls is 2 hours. And like
Wow.
my next stop is 9.5 hours away. So like I'm pulling out of my driveway like, oh my God, like this is insane. And then I just kept going and just kept
That's
going.
awesome. I mean, that in itself, Adam, is so inspiring because I know for me, I've gone on a couple trips. I finally flew on the plane and, visited my two best friends and it just got real janky and had a bad connection. And I was so turned around and so overwhelmed by a couple things. At that time, the airlines weren't the greatest. They didn't care at all about the notes or the MS stuff that was supposed to be there. So it really frazzled me. And I thought, wow, I don't know if I would want to go long-term place to place on my own, if I could do that anymore. But I love that because it inspires me to try.
Yeah.
Just to try, keep trying and, be safe. Obviously you knew when it was time to stop driving for that little bit that your legs couldn't be trustworthy. And I would say I've had a lot of people cognitively say things like that, where they forgot where the gas pedal and the brake is. I'm like, well, you know what? That's a red light. You need to just go ahead and stop for a bit. You need to stop driving. So I think it was really good that when you stopped, it wasn't like, this is forever. It was, okay, for right now, this is what I'm going to struggle with, but there's light at the end of this tunnel. So tell me about that. Where do you think that comes from? Did someone raise you with that? Were you born with that positivity? Where did that come from?
It's funny. I hear that word a lot, positivity, and it always makes me chuckle because I don't feel like I'm that positive. For me, I am just stubborn as all hell, and I always have been.
Are you Italian?
I am actually, yes.
I knew it. We're Italian. That's why.
Italian and German.
Oh my gosh. I'm Italian and German split.
So I got it doubled up that I'm just stubborn as hell. And that's
what I tell my husband. I'm sorry.
That's all it was. Like it all comes back to, I will not be that guy in the wheelchair. I will not let this disease put me there.
Yeah.
And that's all it is.
Yeah.
So when I hear like you're so positive, I'm like, I'm not really positive. Like I'm just a stubborn asshole.
Right.
Moving forward.
But I think I understand because I'm both German and Italian completely. So I get it, that stubbornness, but I think that's what pushes us and gets us through. I think that inability, that desire to keep pushing and not giving up. I know that for me, for my kids and stuff, that's been very inspiring for them to look at and watch me. Now, on the other hand, they see me doing so well. Sometimes they don't know, like, hey, mom's not feeling great. They're like, what's the matter? I'm like, well, I do still have MS. So
still have bad days.
Yeah, still have bad days.
Yep.
So now I'm excited because I want to go into talking about, so you've never done the MS walk.
I've never done one. Nope.
I've done several of them, but I just did one this last weekend. And it's always great to be able to participate in that. And, it's moving because you see all families together a lot of times. Now, for me, for that specific time, my husband and one of our kids came because all of them were working, it's just crazy. So, but it was, it's always so touching to see the families that are doing it together. And some are in a scooter, we're in a wagon, and some are walking. And so are you going to use your trekking poles for that?
I'm gonna use my trekking poles.
Okay. And then how many miles is it? Are you doing the 3 mile one or the 1 mile?
I'm just gonna attempt the one. That's
Okay.
enough for this year.
I love it. I love it, Adam, that you're doing that.
Because
And so,
it's not gonna be easy for me, but
no,
I'm gonna finish it, and it'll take me all day if I have to, but I
I
will.
know you will. I know you will. I'm excited about it. And I'm just, your goal is to raise 3,000 and
Mhm.
you've raised 2,300.
Just about, yep.
So I
And
wanted,
I still have a few tricks up my sleeve to get some more.
good.
I've actually been going to my old UPS buildings and talking to all my old drivers and sharing the walk and trying to get them to join or donate. Like I
Yes.
want there to be people there. Like I want
Yeah.
them to celebrate with me because
Yeah,
I've come so far. And a
absolutely.
lot of those guys I haven't seen in 3 to 5 years. Like
Right.
I was
Right.
their boss at one point and then I just kind of disappeared,
Yeah.
So I got to see them all again. They got to see that I'm doing well. And I just want them to come share and be there with me and, yell at me to keep going, simple as
That's
that.
right. That's right. That's awesome. So you're gonna do that. So you've got some friends that are coming
Yep.
to see you. And then any family that's coming?
Yeah, my sister and brother-in-law and my parents are going to be there.
That's
That's like
awesome.
the immediate family that I have. And
Yeah.
I don't know what my cousins or aunts and uncles are, but
Yeah.
I know, man, I got some people from the gym are coming.
Oh, that's so cool.
Some of my coworkers are coming. Like I used
That's
to play
great, Adam.
soccer with this guy years ago who's one of my brother-in-law's good friends. Like he's coming and his daughter's coming. And
Oh, that's so cool.
I don't even know who's gonna be there.
I love that. Just enjoy it and
Yep.
just relish in the day.
Yeah.
And it's what's funny to me is you and I both know the foods that we're supposed to eat and things like that. You're gonna laugh about this. So we get done, there's slushies, there's cookies, there's donuts, and I'm like, so as soon as you get there, they're like, you want a donut? I'm like,
No,
no, I
I don't
can't.
want a
No,
donut.
it was just so bizarre to me. I'm like, I'm in the Twilight Zone. They've got pop and they've got also. I'm like, we definitely need to get better at that part. And like,
Yeah.
what do we give to the MS walkers? Not donuts. Yes, exactly. Or
Water.
no water, and I do this, no sugar.
Yep. No sugar. Correct.
It was just stunning to me that still here we are 2022 and we're still passing donuts out. I'm like,
Yeah.
so that was but other than that, I think it's going to be great for you. I think you're going to love it. I think it's going to be awesome. And really, I would say my encouragement to you is don't get your head too in it. Just enjoy.
I will. And I've been these last couple of weeks, like all of the fundraising I've been doing and all the connections I've been making and the networking, if you want to call it that, it's been great for me. It's given me a purpose, giving me something to do.
Right.
Other than just going to the gym, which I still do.
And that socialization.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we can tend to, when we get that, that depressed, that gloom that comes in, we can tend to kind of want to recluse a little bit. And not that that's always bad. We do need some alone time, but we can get there to a place that is really dark.
Yes.
And so I think it's really good that you are doing so many social things, because keeping yourself doing that is harder as the disease progresses. But the fact that you're doing it now is so good, because those people are going to be like, where is he? What happened? So it's good to do that. And I've always forced myself to do it, even when I've wanted to kind of hibernate in. Yeah. And I'm extremely extroverted. So if I'm missing for too long, I will get phone calls like, where is she? Where is she? Yeah. So I'm sure that you're probably very similar.
I fell off the grid for a while, for a couple of years. I did. When I first got diagnosed, I didn't know what was going on. I kind of hid, and a lot of this stuff happens, and you know who your friends really are when something like this happens. And
absolutely,
turned out there's really not a lot of them. So, you find out who they are, you stick with them, and
Yeah.
it really helped me focus on myself, and I needed to do
Yeah.
that. It's funny that you mentioned the darkness, because like this shirt that I have, I love this shirt.
Uh,
It says darkness is a hell of a coach. Like,
Really?
it is. Like, I had to go through that dark
Yeah.
time in order to see the light, to get out of it.
Yeah.
If
But
I
now
would have done,
darkness is the coach. What would you say about light at the bottom?
the light is what you're going, that the light is the
Yeah.
goal. Like,
Yeah.
you need to be in the dark in order to get me
Oh,
now.
yeah. You froze for a minute. Are you on?
Okay, so did you.
Oh, that's weird. Is it,
I don't know what side it was from, but
it look, I took a look at mine. We can edit it, but talk a little bit more. You're starting to come back normal again.
hey, can you hear me all right now? Is it
Yeah.
good?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can see and hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good now. You're
Okay.
moving again. Yeah, you froze
Good.
up, and I was just blabbing on, and you looked
Well,
like
go
you
ahead
had a really
and
intent look
blab
on your
on.
face that
I
you
was like,
weren't moving.
it's gotta go. What's happening? So, okay. So go ahead and we'll have that edited out. So go ahead and tell me, do you remember what you were saying? The
I don't know where I
cognitive
got cut
test.
off at. I'm not even sure. But talking about like the whole dark time that I went through, like I feel like you have to go through that dark time in order to see the light.
Yeah, I agree. And
Yeah.
I believe with my faith, and that's what pulls me through. You know, we all have something, and my faith is really what pulls me through. That is that if I don't, like you said, if I don't go through the dark times, I don't appreciate the light that's been shown to me. I don't
Correct.
appreciate the blessings that I get. If when you go through that dark time and it's so isolating, and it's so terrifying, then you appreciate so much more the beauty and the light that comes because
Yeah, I definitely.
yeah,
And it makes you look more inward too. Like, that's one of the things I said early on, is one of the best things that I did for this disease when it was going, I finally became selfish in its extent. Like, I finally started caring about myself instead of other people.
yeah,
I had to. I mean, I had to
yeah,
focus on what was happening. My body is doing things that I don't even know. I don't even know what it's doing or why it's doing it.
right. Well
So
said, Adam.
I really had to look into that, and I've got myself, so I'm very in tune with my body now, and I need to be, because
Absolutely.
every step I take takes focus, and
Yes,
it's painful, and every single step. So I have to stay super focused. I just can't let off the gas.
exactly. I love that. I love that because I always think I'm worth more than this. I'm worth more and I'm going to do it. And even if I feel, like I don't want to do this, or I think about, my husband or the kids, and I think about, I don't want them to ever look at me and say, she quit, she gave up, she was tired.
Right.
I want them to look at me and say, she was a badass. She never stopped. She never quit. She didn't give up for anything.
Yep.
She even closed the gym, reopened a new one for just MS people. That's what a badass she is.
Yeah.
She
Heck
took
yeah.
COVID and said, screw you, COVID. I'm going to pivot and make it better.
Yep.
So I think that attitude, that Italian German attitude that we have, I think that does help, but also encourages others that, it's not a huge platform. I don't have a podcast with 20,000 followers. It's a new podcast. It's in the first year, but what an exciting time to be able to give back and to really, this sounds really hard for our newly diagnosed, but it's such a good time if you are going to be diagnosed, because there is so much. And as much as I dislike social media at times, I do
Same.
very much, right? I do so much appreciate the fact that we've all been connected since COVID started in a much deeper way. So people that I might have known, through the years, it became and I can honestly say, Adam, and I'm sure you have these too, there are people, men and women, that I would dearly call up if I had a problem. And I have, and them for me, and they are truly my friends. And I couldn't imagine life without them.
And they're people that you probably will never meet in your real life because they're on
Right.
Zoom or they're on this. And I am the
Yeah.
exact same way. Like the connections you make with these people, they're lifelong. I've
Yeah.
had some since the very beginning, you know.
That's
20
awesome.
years
Now
now.
tell me about your support groups. What has that been like for you?
Support groups have been great. Like because of yoga is the reason that I actually got into support groups. Because
Okay.
for that first year, like I didn't know anybody, I didn't have anybody. I'd
Right.
never barely even heard of MS before I got diagnosed with it. So I was just drifting on an island all by myself. But
Yeah.
then yoga opened me up to some support groups, and I have one that is on Friday nights weekly. We still just meet on Zoom because obviously it all started on Zoom.
Right.
I started during COVID, but this group has been around since like 1993.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like
Okay.
it's called GEMS. They're out of like the Livonia area,
Okay.
and it was group exercise for multiple sclerosis. So back when they did meet
Yeah.
before, they would go to like the YMCA and do like water aerobics and stuff like
Right.
that.
Right.
So now it just turned into the Zoom, and
Right.
now we spread. We got people from like Colorado, New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia. It's just it's spread, and now we're all
Yeah.
friends.
That's
And
awesome.
then the other one I have is obviously I joined it during Zoom again because it was during COVID.
Right.
It's our monthly one. It's called Mind Over Myelin Sheath, and that's
Uh,
the one I'm actually doing the walk with. Like that is
okay.
our team is Mind Over Myelin Sheath because it's our support group.
Now,
And
is that one local?
that is local at South Lyon.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Oh,
meet in South
gotcha. Okay.
Lyon. We meet at the Church of Christ in South Lyon once.
Okay. How far is that from you?
It's about a half hour.
Okay. So for those of you who don't know, we live in the same state in Michigan. And I think I want to say you're about 35 minutes from me, maybe.
Probably like, yeah, 35, 40. Yeah.
Okay. And so we're definitely going to get together. That's for sure.
Yep.
And so I love that. The Mind Over. I've got to look into that one.
Yeah.
So I love that you got into support groups right away.
Mhm.
So have you found one that was a terrible one that you were like, nope?
I've come across some on like random Facebook MS group pages, and there are some that I've gotten in, and it's just the woe is me, and I can't handle that.
Yeah.
I can't do it. Like I get everybody you need to complain, you need
Right.
to do
Right.
it, but when it's all the time and I was like, nope, can't do this. Like our groups, we might not even talk about MS the entire time.
Yeah.
And
I
I
love
think that's
that.
what we need because we deal with MS 24/7.
Right.
We need a little
Right.
break, a distraction break.
Yes. I love that. And I think back to, I think of it like this, Adam, is that it's kind of like the doctor speed dating kind of thing, in the sense that it's kind of like that we go through these times, but then my first support group was in a scooter shop. And here I am in my 20s, and I'm going into a scooter shop, and I'm like, what the hell kind of support group is this? I'm like, who does this? Who thought of this? And I locked eyes with this younger kid that was in there. He might have been 20. And he looked at me, and I just got up to leave. I'm like, this is too much. It was kind of like what you said. Everybody was super negative, super depressing. And I'm just like, I got to get out of here. And he came over to me and he said, do you have a neurologist that you like? And I'm like, no, I'm searching for one. So he gave me Dr. Rossman's name at the Mind Clinic. And so that changed the trajectory, a little, for the rest of my life. I mean,
Yeah.
Dr. Rossman was so, when they didn't do things like that, he was like, we're going to put you on chemo for this. And I'm like, what? He's like, we're going to stop it right now. We're going to stop the progression because you've got too much going on. You're too young. You're too healthy. You're too spunky. We're going. And he's like, as aggressive as that damn disease is, we're going right after it. And I was like, this is a doctor I can get behind. So that is what I liked. And so I'm glad that I'm now leading a support group, which I really enjoy with a friend. And same thing, like I want the positivity. I know there's going to be things that are hard, but I think that done right, I think they're so important.
They are so important. Because you can't just say something like, oh man, like my spasticity has been really bad today to somebody that doesn't have MS because they have no idea what spasticity
Not a
is.
clue.
Or you tell them you're tired because of fatigue, and then somebody will be like, oh yeah, I'm
Me
tired
too.
It's
Or
like,
I
you
can't
don't
sleep. I
have an
haven't
idea.
slept. And
You
they're
have
like,
no
oh, I don't
idea.
sleep either. You're
Right.
like, not the same, but okay. So you do get, gosh, yeah, all the things you hear and you're just like,
So
okay,
when you're in a group and you say that stuff, everyone's like, "Yep, I totally
yes.
understand." And this is
And
what
it's so
I've done.
good.
This is what I've done to try to combat that. Or have you tried this? And
Right.
it's just great to bounce ideas off people.
Absolutely. Give each other little tips of things that this worked for me. Maybe try this. And it's always good because I always get a good tip and I
Yeah.
feel like I, able to give them. And so along with the woman who does it with me.
Yeah.
And so, and again, like we talked about with Zooming, she's in California and I'm in Michigan
Yeah.
and we do it together. So it's just a very cool vibe with a lot of different people from different areas.
And there's such a wide range of, how long people have had it. Like I consider myself like relatively new still. Like I'm a noob.
Right.
It's only, it hasn't been 3 years yet. And
You're a baby.
Had it, 25 years, 20 years. And, you get some perspective from them and
Right.
they have been getting some perspective from me,
For
even
sure.
being a guy, like it's rare to have a guy have MS too. It's a lot more rare than women and
Right.
how I am and my attitude and this
Right.
unstoppable right here. Like,
Yes.
what I keep doing. So like I feel like we just feed off each other really well.
Yeah. That's so I love I once a month I go into a men's support group and I talk about, they let me in, which is exciting. I get to talk about working out and why it's so important. And for the guys who, like I said before, who really struggle with, I could do this and now I can't. And so we do some things that, and they're like, I feel this. And I'm like, I'll show them a small band. And they're like, what's that going to do? I'm like, just wait. I've got tricks that you've never even seen. So they get done. They're like, holy hell, that band. So I think there's so many things that we can do that it's unknown. And like you, there were things that I was doing that I had to look at and say, probably not the best for me. I probably need to modify this a bit. I was as a trainer and being in gyms, back in the day, you didn't talk about it. You couldn't say like, I'm not going to be able to do this move. I have multiple sclerosis. A, they didn't know what it was. B, right. You were afraid of losing your job. So if they said, do a box jump, I was like, yes, ma'am. And I would just do it, knowing that probably wasn't the best for my body. Fast forward years later, owning my own, I know what to do and I've done it for years. So when that happened and drop foot and stuff, I know how to work with it. Mm-hmm. But I do think that I'm just so proud of you for just really taking control and just really starting to move without anyone pushing you down and saying, you're not going to be able to do this, and you accepting it. So I love that. And now let's talk about a little bit. Your walk is, so everybody knows, May 22nd. And so if people want to support you, I want to put a link on that so that they can support for that. I'll
get you the link for sure.
Yeah,
it's in Milford at Kensington Park, which is going to be a beautiful park. So
it is beautiful. It's one of my favorite places to bike ride. Yep. And just to go and just, I just love it. It's very peaceful and it's definitely one of my favorites. Yeah. So a beautiful area to do it in. So that's awesome.
We're going to have some team shirts made up. I'm getting some.
Oh, I love it.
Made up. It's got Mind Over Myelin sheath on the front.
Very cool, Adam.
On the back, it's got MS with the wrong MFer.
I love it.
Because that's just who I am.
Well, we want to definitely make a big deal about it and support it. And I want all of the pictures, all the stuff from it. And I just couldn't tell you how much more exciting it is to watch your Instagram and to see your stories, to see what you're doing. And I'm always looking at just like, go for it, Adam, just do it. You're killing it. So I hope to see you over and over killing it. And I want to hear from you after. So we'll do maybe a redo. I want to hear about how the walk went.
Okay. Yeah.
So I want to hear all about that. So
I'll have to come kill it in your gym sometime too.
Yes. You will. We'll do a video. I'll have you come over and I'll have you, we'll work out together. Have a video.
It would be nice. Awesome. Like I've thought about like filming that stuff, but I do everything on my own. So
Yeah.
I don't know how to film. I can't do a selfie while I'm lifting weights, you know?
We'll have my husband do it. We'll have my
All right,
husband
there
do
you go.
the filming for us. We'll see how much I can lift versus you.
I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want video evidence of you whooping my ass at lifting.
Oh, I don't know. You look pretty strong. I'm like, can I still do those? But my one question to you before we end is, we talked about this a little bit. For a lot of our MSers, I know that they got COVID. I know you had it twice.
Yep.
I had it once at the end, and then I was able to get the antibody, the infusion, and that helped a lot. And so I didn't have it as bad. It was the last, whatever one we're on now, whatever,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
spiraling.
Whatever it's called.
Yeah. So now you had it in the beginning. So you had it when you had it pretty bad in the beginning.
The first one was brutal.
Yeah.
That was a bad one. Like in the midst of that, I didn't know if I was coming out. Like it messed with your head. I lost my taste, my smell. You know, it inflamed every MS symptom I have. Like I could barely walk. I was falling over. You know, I hadn't fallen in months before that. And that took a good month to clear out. You know.
Yeah.
But second time I got it was in January this past year, so a couple months ago. Wasn't that bad. It was just like a bad cold. You know,
Okay.
I just had a fever for like a day.
Yeah. That's what I had.
I did my whole quarantine for 10
Mhm.
days. I missed 9 days at the gym, which is unheard of for me.
I remember that. I remember seeing that. I was like,
Unheard
oh
of.
man.
Like it hurt. It was just I didn't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
At the time I'm usually at the gym, I was like, I'm sick. I can't do anything, but I just want to go.
I got it, and I did the quarantine, and then my husband got it a few days. I'm like, now I got to quarantine with you. But so yeah, it was a lot of days that I missed in the gym. And we were talking about that. I noticed a lot of my clients and even myself, I'm not able to lift as much as I could. Still, I'm still really working on getting that strength back.
It took me probably about a month to get it back to where I was. Like every exercise I was doing, I had to drop like 10 to 15 pounds on, depending on what it was.
I think that's
It
fair.
took a good solid month to get it back.
So I really, go ahead.
Finally, last couple of weeks, like I've actually been able to raise again instead of just plateauing. So I got back to where I was after about a month, and then I've just been slowly building. But I'm changing what I'm doing now too, because I actually went back to therapy again to work more on like my balance and my gait. And she's really into like the high intensity interval training.
Yeah.
So she's been showing me that stuff, and I'm going to start filtering that in more. So not as much weight wise, just more.
Right. Now that's when you're going to come see me.
Yep.
That's what we'll do together.
She's been working on it for a while. She actually got a grant for it at U of M to put like an MS gym together.
Really?
To do that. And it would cost, twice a week, it would cost us like $5 to go do it.
I'm gonna have to look into that one. I'm gonna have to look into doing that.
They just can't do it yet because of all the restrictions. So,
right. Yeah, I think I talked to one of them about that. So I'm gonna look into that, because I'm being asked to, teach certain places. So that would be something I would love to do.
Yeah,
so
I've been looking forward to it for like a year now, but it's still not getting off the ground because of all the restrictions.
Right.
At least hopefully somebody's doing it,
Absolutely. And it is hard because of the restrictions. Like places that I've been asked to do it we're still in that time where we can't go in person yet with all of it. So it's tricky, but we'll be there. It'll get there. So, and I love your positive attitude, Adam. It's a joy to have you on. You're welcome here anytime you want to come on. And I definitely want to touch base with you and see how your walk went. I'm very excited.
You should come out for it. I mean, you can walk.
I may.
You can walk, all the information is out there. It's all over the place.
I may surprise you.
Hey, that would be a good surprise.
I would love to. Well, Adam, I'm so looking forward to hearing about it or seeing you. And I can't wait to interview you to see how it goes.
Yeah. Thank you again for asking me to come on here. Like,
absolutely. Adam, you're incredibly inspiring. I hope you know that. And I hope that you continue to do everything you're doing and don't stop. You're unstoppable.
I am unstoppable. That's been my mantra this whole time.
Amen. So again, my mantra is move it or lose it.
Yep.
So you can be unstoppable.
Yeah. Yeah. It's perfect. It fits well together.
That's right. So guys, again, Adam, I thank you so much. And everybody, I hope that you enjoyed this interview with Adam as much as I did and you're inspired. And there'll be a link to where you can give, if you want to give to Adam's walk. That'd be awesome. We know what it feels like to reach the goal for something so important. So let's root him on and let's try to get him to his goal, guys. So we hope you enjoyed today and we'll see you again next week. Bye-bye, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today on Move It or Lose It podcast, where you can again find us every Tuesday and also wherever you like your podcast, whether it's Apple, Spotify, Stitcher. Join us on that. And we can't wait to see you again. We're going to have a lot of exciting guests and working together. And as always, you'll hear us say at the end of every podcast, we are stronger together. So let's do it. Let's become stronger together.